If you are tired of grinding badges offline, then be sure to hit up my boys over at Hero Grinders for the fastest, easiest, and most legit badge grinding service in the world. Top links in the description. Fun fact, only 7.6% of you guys are actually subscribed to this channel, so please, if you do enjoy the video, consider subscribing. Like the video if you did enjoy the video, and comment any questions that you do have down below, and enjoy the video. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys the most overpowered builds in NBA 2K21 next gen. So starting off with the very first build of the entire video, we are going to need to be a power forward. Overall, power forwards are just the most overpowered position in this game. You can get way more badges than pretty much any other build. Moving on to the body settings, what we're gonna do for this first build is we're gonna drop the height down to minimum. This way we can be 6'7", and then we're also gonna drop our height to minimum. This pretty much means that we're pretty much a point forward since we have an 83 ball handle and an 80 plus speed acceleration. And then to make us even more overpowered, we're gonna max out the wingspan. This just gives us even better finishing and defense. As usual on this screen, let's get the obvious things out of the way right now. And just like that, all of the obvious things are out of the way. The first thing that I'm gonna do is scroll up just a little bit to our offensive rebound and pretty much max this out. We're actually gonna drop our offensive rebound just a couple of ratings to an 86. As you can see, we still have our 24 defensive and rebounding badges, and there's no reason to waste attributes. Moving on to pass accuracy and playmaking, we're gonna bump up our pass accuracy to pretty much max as well. Actually, we're gonna drop this so we can have exactly 28 playmaking badges. Trust me, 28 playmaking badges is more than enough for this build. For some reason, getting playmaking badges is just super easy, which is why we're gonna get 28 of them. Next, we're gonna scroll up to free throw and bump this up so we can have exactly 17 shooting badges. 17 shooting badges is more than enough to be able to shoot consistently and be very confident from 3-point range. Anything more than that is a little bit overkill. Next, we're gonna scroll up to finishing, throw all of our attributes onto post control. One tweak that I am gonna make on this build is dropping down the stamina to an 85 and then throwing all of these ratings onto post control. As you can see, if you do this, you can get a 17th finishing badge, which I think is more than worth it. What makes this build so overpowered is the fact that it's just an all-around demigod. It can do absolutely everything in this game with a total of 86 badges. It's not a super toxic build, but it's so good. You can do absolutely everything. Overall, I couldn't make an overpowered build video without including at least one 6'7" power forward. Moving on to the takeovers. With the first takeover, I'm going to go ahead and go with finishing moves and then go with extreme clamps. It kind of sucks we can't get sharp takeover. However, finishing moves is definitely extremely overpowered. And as you guys can see, I've built an offensive threat. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised this is the name since scoring isn't really the main thing this build does. It's mostly playmaking and defensive and rebounding. However, moving on to build number 2. Moving on to the second build, and for this build, we are still going to be a power forward. As I said before, power forward is just the most overpowered position, and there's no reason to switch things up. Moving on to the body settings. For the height, we're gonna be 6'8". We already made a 6'7" build, and this time we are going to be a 6'8" build. This is gonna be more of like a center build, but trust me, it's gonna be extremely overpowered. Next, we're gonna drop the weight all the way down to minimum. Trust me, speed and acceleration is way more important than strength. And then for the wingspan, we're pretty much gonna max this out. This is just the best way to maximize attributes and badges. On this screen, as usual, let's get the obvious things out of the way right now. And boom, just like that, all of the obvious things are out of the way. The very first thing that I am going to go ahead and do is scroll up to defensive and rebounding. We're obviously going to need perimeter defense, and we're obviously going to need clamps. We unlock gold clamps at an 80 perimeter defense, so that's the place we're going to stop upgrading perimeter defense. And then next, we're going to scroll down to offensive rebound and pretty much max this out. We can actually drop this attribute down to a 91 and still have 28 defensive and rebounding badges. Moving on to playmaking, since playmaking is so easy to upgrade, we're going to pretty much max this out. We're actually going to drop this down to a 26. Next, we're going to skip shooting and scroll up to post control so we can have a 23rd finishing badge. And then what we're also going to pretty much want to do is scroll down to free throw and up this to a 54 so we can have 12 shooting badges. I know 12 shooting badges isn't a ton, however, trust me, if you leave me open on this build, I'll be greening almost every single shot. Overall, this build has a total of 89 badges with pretty much max physicals. What makes this build so overpowered is the fact that you have a 99 steal rating. With a 99 steal rating, you can pretty much spam square and then get rewarded with a steal. You're also going to be able to lock up everyone with a total of 28 defensive and rebounding badges. And then the fact that you're 6'8" with max wingspan and a total of 23 finishing badges means that you're literally going to be able to dunk on everyone, and there's nothing they can do about it. Not to mention, if they do sag off you, you'll be able to green consistently with an 81 3-pointer and 12 shooting badges. This build reminds me a lot of the two-way finisher from NBA 2K20. However, it's even more overpowered since you're 6'8" with max wingspan, and contact dunks are overpowered, plus a spamming square is just so good in this game. Also, when you hit 99 overall, you're going to be able to unlock pro drill moves, and you're going to be a 6'8" point forward. If you still want to be able to dribble on this build without hitting 99 overall, there's a video in the card up above, and I'll show you guys the best drill moves if you don't have pro drill moves unlocked. Moving on to the takeovers, we're pretty much going to go with spotted precision. I find it crazy that you can get a sharpshooting takeover on this build, but not the previous build. And then with the second takeover, let's just go ahead and go with finishing moves. As you guys can see, I built a playmaking 3-level score. Moving on to the final build of the video, this is going to be a post score build. It wouldn't be an overpowered build video if I didn't have the post scores. Post scores are overall just the most broken build in every single 2K. So obviously for the position, we're going to go ahead and be a center. This way we're just as tall as possible and we're as strong as possible. And then with the height, we're going to bump this up 1 to 7 foot 1 inches. And then with the weight, we're going to leave it default. There's no point in increasing it since you're going to have 95 strength anyways if we drop our wingspan down to 7'3". For this build, we're actually not just going to get the obvious things out of the way. I'm going to go down category by category and show you guys what you guys should do. So starting off with finishing, we're pretty much going to max out close shot, standing dunk, and post control. Ideally, we would have driving layup and driving dunk. However, as a post scorer, you're never really going to be driving to the basket that much. Moving on to shooting, as a post scorer, you only really need 4 shooting badges so that you can get fades. So what we're going to go ahead and do is max out our mid-range and then bump up our 3-pointer to exactly a 54. Moving on to playmaking, we only need 3 playmaking badges so that we can get unpluckable. Trust me, if you don't have unpluckable, you're going to be getting ripped every single possession. All they have to do is run up to you and press square. So what we are going to go ahead and do is max out our ball handle, speed with ball, and then bump up our pass accuracy to a 58. For now, we're actually going to go ahead and skip defensive and rebounding badges. What we're going to go ahead and do instead is max out speed, acceleration, strength, and stamina. And then what we can go ahead and do is upgrade our defensive / rebounding badges. We can go ahead and do is max out block, defensive rebound, and steal. There's no worse feeling in this game than having a ball go through your hands when you're in a passing lane, which is why you 100% need steal, especially since you're a center. And then with the rest of our attributes, let's go ahead and max out interior D. As you can see, we have a total of 17 defensive and rebounding badges, but what we're gonna go ahead and do is drop our stamina down to an 86 so that we can get our 18th defensive and rebounding badge. I know a lot of you guys are gonna be wanting perimeter defense since that does affect your lateral quickness. If you want to do that, you can swap steal and perimeter, but in my opinion, I'd rather have steal. Overall, this build doesn't have a ton of badges. However, this build is still so overpowered. Post scores are so broken in this game and absolutely need to be patched. They're honestly so toxic. All you have to do is hold L2 and hold right trigger. And against majority of players, you can back them down and drop step and do a standing dunk. Occasionally, you will have to do other things such as post fade or post hook. However, for 50% or more of 2's games, you're just going to be able to back them down and do a drop step, which is absolutely so toxic. Moving on to the takeovers, for the first one, we're going to go ahead and go with advanced post moves. And then with the second one, why don't we just go with post shot daggers? And as you guys can see, we have built a 2-way inside the arc score, which is kind of a weird name. Anyways, you guys, that's pretty much it for the video. If you did enjoy the video, subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, like the video, as it does help me out so much. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Take it easy.